It's time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielson, Matt Cassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
12:05 on Edmonton Sports Talk. Thank you very much for being here. If you are listening live, you know you can text us every single day. We are live all the way up until 1 o'clock. Text us at 780-218-9999. And, of course, on the Nasty Chat, we've already got some chats rolling in. People are excited for Matthias Janmark to get a bump after playing last game and thinking that you probably should take him down a notch. So we'll see how it all plays out. Matt Cassian is not with us today. He's got some work. He's driving to Saskatoon. Maybe Cass, you know what? He better be. Cass better be listening live at edmontonsportstalk.com right now, streaming in his vehicle. I'm going to be really pissed, Gager. This is the ultimate test, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I'm sure. Well, please pull over to our voice to text. He's probably got a car capable of doing all that stuff, right? So, Cass, send in some of your spicy takes on. I like the one I just saw that he's actually on his way to Mini.
Yeah.
To add a little muscle on Draisaitl's left side. So I like that.
To play with Draisaitl and Kane tonight. Maybe he is. We don't know, but we do know he's listening. We're doing the ultimate test right now. Cass, if you're listening at any point today, you text us. And let us know, and we'll see if he comes through. We've got lots to get to. Obviously, we're going to dive into the Oilers line combinations, a little bit of the blender that Woodcroft has out to start the year. Dr. Gonzo's on the Nasty Chat right now and says, Woodcroft with a top-tier troll. He'll be rolling 11-7 with line blenders sponsored by Ninja, the Ninja blender.
That would be great. A Ninja hoodie, and maybe on the side for some sports drinks, a quick smoothie on the bench for guys to replenish.
He should roll out to his availabilities in like a Ninja hoodie, like with like brand, like the actual brand of the blender, just to F with everybody, you know?
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't Ninja reach out to some coaches that have blend their lines? What a great marketing strategy. Because we've seen it here over the past 5 games, Dusty.
Yeah, just a little bit. Gish, what do you like? We'll get into these actual line combinations in a second. Once again, if you have any questions, 780-218-9999 or in the Nasty Chat today, we'll try to address as many as we possibly can here on this episode of Two Guys and a Goalie. But like, it has been a very tumultuous start to any sort of chemistry that you could possibly build early in the season, and I feel like, you know, the city was panicking after 2 losses to the Vancouver Canucks, but I'm not sure the coach is supposed to panic in that situation. And to me, since then, it's kind of just been this roller coaster of, oh, you play here for now, you play here for now. And I just don't know if that's the way to get out of a funk, is it?
To me, no. I understand. I mean, I think because of the way that they lost the first game, Desi, the fact that they looked completely out of sorts, like you could just throw that whole over a month of being on the ice out the window at that point, because they just looked like a team that didn't belong on the same ice as the Vancouver Canucks. That was really puzzling. So I think at that point it was the coaching staff was trying to find anything that worked just to create a spark, because there was no life, there was nothing, there was no physical play, and I can see it at that point. And then, you know, you come back home and you're going up against a goalie who's playing quite well. I just think at the beginning of the year, how do you really know what you have unless you have a pretty good sample size? And I mean, you kind of got to start at square one at the beginning of the year. Everyone's on, except for 97 and 29. Everyone's got to really prove themselves, in my mind, again, and let that kind of cultivate and mature with some of the players that you've kind of had on your whiteboard throughout the whole summer. I think you'd really need more time, because when you look around the league, Dusty, and you look at other lines, there's not a lot of changes. You know, you look at that. I look at that Philadelphia game. They weren't mixing lines at all. That, I mean, things were going well for them, so there had no reason. But when I look at future games, I still see those line pairings together, and starting to learn from each other and get into that groove again. And you just don't see that with the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, you make a really good point on, like, it's weird just in this town because with the football team, they had a coach who refused to make a change and just kept rolling back out the same OC and the same quarterback week after week after week after week. And you're like, why isn't this guy doing anything? Now, football's obviously a different game. That'd be the equivalent of like half the season of Woodcroft rolling with this. But the point that kind of made me think of the football reference is when you said, like, you've had all off season to look at this roster and go, this is what I think will work. And the fact that, I mean, I tweeted 25 minutes into the season, he'd put McDavid and Draisaitl back together. And I think that was kind of a sign of things to come. But when you have a whole offseason and you know what the roster is going to be, how do you not give it like 2 weeks? Give it 2 weeks and see if it works or not. I don't know how you can all of a sudden think that something that you could sit there for even if you sat there for 2 weeks through training camp and said, this is the line, this is the line, this is the line. And then a game and a half in, it's not the line anymore and it's gone forever. It doesn't make sense to me. To me, it's a full-blown panic move from the head coach, which it's just way too early in the season, regardless of expectations, to actually be panicking.
No, it's puzzling. I mean, even if you had the flex capacitor and went back and actually left it alone, and maybe the results would have been the same, but I don't think you would get that outside pressure of like, why is he keeping these together? Why isn't he trying to do something else? You could honestly say that, look, he's trying to see if there's something there, and one half a period or a period isn't enough time to see if that, like, what does the line got to do? That puts a lot of pressure on new combinations as well.
Yes, it does.
Especially for say a young guy going up to the top line now. You know, you're now like a young Dylan Holloway, and I said it this morning. I don't think it's a good idea to put him up into a top scoring role at this time. I like where he is because now his game's going to change. His mindset, I have to create. I have to score now. And that's it just makes it so much difficult. It's so difficult for other guys to, what's my role? How am I supposed to play? It's changing every little thing within the lineup instead of establishing a solid third line, a solid second line. Like 1 and 2 are kind of interchangeable with this team, but just, yeah, it's a mess right now. That's why I said that I think that having Connor out is a great opportunity because you don't have that to fall back on anymore. You have to kind of let a lot of these things sort itself out, and it'll give you a really good idea of what you got. And maybe in the next few weeks when Connor comes back, you might have something there. You might have a line. You know what? That thing is going well. I can't touch that right now. That's one of our best assets as a team. So hopefully that happens. But yeah, I think you really gotta give opportunities to some guys, which I think they've been craving up to this point, and let them figure it out themselves and give them a little bit more rope before you put on the ninja boots and the mask and start blending.
You know, just quickly, let's stick on this blender topic for a second. If you're listening today or you're watching, what is your go-to blender at home? Do you have a blender at home that you absolutely love? My wife blends a ton, and I think she's got, like, it's one of those things where you're like, we'll get a blender, but we don't need to spend a lot on it because it's just a blender. And then you get a blender and you really like blending things, and you're like, well, you know what? Maybe we get one of those fancier blenders, right? So, like, we've got one of these things. I would think, like, we're probably like a year away from having the full-blown Orange Julius setup where you have, like, the cover that pulls down over the top and you get 4 machines going at once. Because we've got I don't even know the name of that. It must be a Ninja. But it's pretty significant. Like, it takes up the most space on the counter. Like, this is a heavy-duty blender because we're a smoothie family, so we have to have the blender. Gager, what's your blender like in your household?
Well, I've got with my boy
Well,
I
he's
think he's
jacked,
bulky.
right?
He's bulking right now. So he's got the Canadian Tire quick blender. I Mine is in the garage. It only makes it out in the summer. The Margaritaville, Dusty, that I use, that is strictly for
Ah,
tequila
okay. And is it
and
called a
lime juice.
Margaritaville? Is that what it is? It's
It
like,
is,
oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah. You used to be able to get them at Costco. That's where I got mine. Just a wonderful machine. It's easy to operate, but no, I have been looking at, what are they called? Those Vitamix blenders.
Ah, yeah. Somebody
Uh,
mentioned a
those
Vitamix.
they're like $1 billion, but you can actually make soups in them too. Like there's the whole recipe book. Like it actually will. You just throw the ingredients and it'll make like a blended soup as well. So one day, Dusty, once the two guys
Yeah, we'll get
goes
a blender
worldwide,
sponsor on Two Guys and a Goalie, right?
yeah, yeah, we'll have it going throughout the whole episode too.
I think that's good. We got some KitchenAid messages. The Ninja or the Vitamix. Got the KitchenAid at Costco. Had it 12 years. Still runs great. Somebody texted in, I think out of Calgary or somewhere down south. Get a Margaritaville. That's the one that you were just
Yeah,
talking about, Gager.
that's the
So
one.
yeah, no, that's yeah, that's good. That one's actually, I think that guy texting in is my buddy Tanel. You know Tanel. You played in that charity tournament with Ryan. Yeah. He's a big casual comfort Margaritaville guy for sure.
Oh yeah.
I could see
Okay.
Tanel pulling that off. Joe Beleneski's in and says, two guys and a smoothie. That's not, I like smoothies, man. Although usually when we go to Marshall has basketball on Mondays, power skating on Wednesdays, take him and Tam will whip up a quick smoothie that we can crush on the way home after. And sometimes she sneaks spinach into it. And I don't you sneak spinach into my smoothie. It just, I can tell, like the texture of it just changes. It drives me nuts. I don't do spinach in my smoothies, man.
Just you need the frozen cubes, Dusty. Then you won't even
Cubes of
notice it.
spinach?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's the only way she can trick me. It's like when you're feeding a dog and you got to mix something in. It's like the only way you can trick me into eating some of this stuff. So
You're like Popeye.
yeah, exactly. That's right. Nielson and Gage are with you. Just quickly back to the blending here from Woodcroft is because somebody in the nasty chat said, is this not the exact same thing we criticized Dave Tippett for a year and a half as he was like kind of going down the stretch? And it is. And the strangest part of it all is that when Tippett left, Woodcroft came in, and there's always that one Derek Ryan conversation where he's like, he's giving everybody a chance to play more significant minutes and have a role on the team. And like, it was the exact opposite of what he's doing now to start this season, which, do you think that just is, it's like a Draisaitl and McDavid disease where it's like you have them and no matter what type of medicine you take, you just can't get rid of the urge to go back to those guys?
Yeah, and when I look back, I think possibly one of the reasons that Woodcroft didn't do it is he didn't have them for a long period of time and he's an American League coach having to use everybody.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Was kind of the norm. And look, I've said it before. I get caught up in those two, and knowing that you have that as a bullet in the chamber that you can use, and which is so effective and has been so effective over the past 2 seasons. I mean, Coach Woodcroft's one of the winningest coaches in the NHL over that period of time by implementing Connor and Leon together. So why wouldn't you? It's like, if it's hard to do, but you got to take the temperature of your team a little bit more and realize that, I don't know, Dusty, it just seems like over the past 2 seasons and seeing what's required to get to where they want to be, they can't do it as a 2-person team. Other people need to step up in those situations. You can't just rely on them because teams are good. And what we've seen so far, even though I don't think we haven't seen the best of Connor and Leon yet, teams are doing a much better job of defending against them. Like, you watch Connor, he does not have a lot of room out there. Even seeing on the power play how they're defending against him, because it was just a no-brainer, him getting into the zone with that drop pass. They're actually putting a forward in that area and not allowing it at all, and just saying, we're not going to let him bring the puck in. You let one of these other guys try, and we'll defend that, because it's so easy for Connor with a full head of steam, even going against four guys, which is crazy. So there needs to be some adjustments from everyone, because look, it's a video league, and people are just taking apart these games these last few games that the Oilers have played, on how other teams are defending against Connor and Leanna and having success. There's going to have to be a severe change. You can't keep just doing the same things if you want to have success.
All right, so the line combinations for tonight's game in Minnesota look like this. They come from future Nielsen Show guest Bob Stauffer. Leon Draisaitl between Evander Kane and Matthias Janmark. The Nuge between Hyman and Fogle. McLeod between Brown and Holloway. And then Ernie with Ryan. I had taken a guess on my show this morning of what Woodcroft might do. Not what I would do, but what Woodcroft might do. And the area I missed was I had Brown with Draisaitl and Kane and Janmark on the third line. He has Janmark on the top line. I do see some people saying that since they put the analytics department together, this is a big push from the analytics crowd to get Matthias Janmark up there. I mean, if the analytics crowd watched last game, I don't think you want him anywhere around significant minutes. But Gager, what do you think of Matthias Janmark getting to ride shotgun on his off wing with Draisaitl and Evander Kane?
An opportunity for him, definitely. He's never played for Minnesota, though, right? I don't think he ever played for Minnesota.
He was in Dallas, so I don't know. In Vegas.
Dallas, yeah. So
let me see. I'll see if he's anywhere else, but I know Dallas and Vegas for sure.
Yeah, so he
Chicago
usually has more success
against
the teams that he played for. So that's kind of puzzling. But no, look, when I look at Janmark, I thought when he got injured last year, I thought it was he came back and he was 50%. That last stretch of the Oilers, I want to say end of January to playoffs, was unbelievable. That's when I really kind of was flipping the switch to say, wow, this is a very well-balanced team. And Matthias Janmark was part of that. Do I think... I'm curious to see him up on the top line and what he can do. I think it provides a little bit more of a defensive-minded approach at that point. Maybe someone who can, okay, our centerman is a little bit more, or if he's playing center, most likely that he's a little bit more responsible on the defensive side, and see what happens, because it is going to take, when you take Connor out, where a lot of those points going to come from. It's going to have to come by committee. I have to say I'm curious, and I don't mind it seeing him there. I want to see what happens and see if he can, because there is some skill there, Dusty. We've seen little flashes of what he can do, and so it's.
I think little flashes is the best way to describe
little
it.
Flashes,
little flashes, just little ones. His season so far is -2 with 2 bad penalties and 3 shots on goal in 5 games. So, yeah, there's an opportunity here to do a hell of a lot more tonight, because if he rolls out one of those stat lines again, people might be calling to fire Jay Woodcroft tomorrow morning if Matthias Janmark.
Well, there's already those.
Like, the last time I've seen people so pissed off about a decision like this was the last time they put the other number 13 up on the top line. Like, it's just, and I'll take it this far. I think the Oilers drastically missed Jesse Puljujärvi, Kyler Yamamoto, and Klim Kostin. I mean, that was 3 pretty decent hockey players. We can have our debate on Puljujärvi, but Kostin last year provided a role. Yamamoto, like if they weren't so horribly managed at the salary cap level, Puljujärvi needed a fresh start. Yamo was a straight up cap casualty, and Kostin ended up getting paid somewhere else because you couldn't pay him. Like, once again, these are sacrifices that had to be made, so that now you're rolling out 11 forwards tonight, and one of them is Adam Ernie, who probably shouldn't even be in the National Hockey League at this point. Like we always like, because you have McDavid and Draisaitl, you just go, oh, it's okay to carry a short roster. And I don't think we realize how much, like, if this team doesn't get it done, and I'm not talking this team, I'm talking like if they don't deliver a title to Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, or those guys don't deliver, the organization doesn't work together to deliver a championship. We can look at all the different players they had, Gidger, but to me, it really comes down to piss poor salary cap management. And that's something that's just really, really difficult to get out from under.
Yeah, just looking at the piece Yamamoto would fill right now, right? Like
he'd be on that top line right now, right? Like,
oh yeah, he would, and kind of a plug and play. He's played in that role, you know. I still think when he comes back in the regular season, his tribute should be him just missing chances for the first, like, and then show the goal he scored against the Kings last. I think that would be hilarious. But when the Nudie line, you know,
that was a real good run there. Yeah.
That
like 20, 25 games, right? 25, 30 games.
Yeah. And he just went nuts, right? He was like a point a game player in that stretch. And I think,
you know why that line might've been left together though, Gager? Or you know why it might've had success? Because they left it together. They played together for 30 bloody games or whatever it was. Like,
and then they didn't go back together
in the playoffs.
And then when they thought they needed something, they put them back together.
Wasn't it like with 14 minutes left in the elimination game? Like,
it was a complete head scratcher. But there's the perfect example of guys that kind of figured it out, and really, I think that was the point where Leon was, you know, he loved playing with him, or Nuge, or it was just a good solid line. They have to keep guys together, Dusty. It's especially with this, they got to see what you have and let things grow from there. Too many changes, not knowing who you're playing. Just imagine like being on that bench and going, you're with this guy, you're with that guy. Okay, what's my role here? What am I? There's too much confusion, I think. That's just like the Oilers game. I think the line combinations should be simplified as well.
Yeah, part of the time you look at this team and it looks like half the forward group's just watching the game like us. You know, he's been like, man, I hope Connor and Leon can do something here. Oh, maybe Nuge will get something done. And then it's like, oh, I can go out and skate around for 45 seconds. Thanks. Here we go. Okay, I'm off again. Go back out there, guys. Like, that's just not how you build a championship team. I mean, that's just not how it works right now with how it's being controlled. If you would like to chime in, feel free to do so. 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. We'll get to a few more of your text messages. Coach Mike is in and says, maybe Janmark has some Hollywood connections and promised Woodcroft a role if he put him on the top line. That one's in from Coach Mike. I got some time for what type of blackmail is Matthias Janmark pulling off on Jay Woodcroft? What does he have that that gets him back up here on the top? Well, you know what happens tonight? Janmark scores a goal, right? Like that. That's what ends up happening tonight. And then on the post-game show, Tommy, who's a huge Janmark guy, he can take a victory lap. And the analytics guys can take a victory lap. And then people will tell you tomorrow, will text and be like, hey, now that Janmark's clicking, can we move McDavid for a D-man and a goalie, like, because they're winning games? What do you make of Holloway, McLeod, and Brown? And is that the right spot for Brown, do you think, as he continues to sort of get ramped back up?
I think so, because I put him in the same boat as Holloway, right? Coming off the injury, year off, getting thrust into, hoping it worked. I mean, didn't get to see it a lot. If he could refine that kind of scoring touch again, but now I think playing with those guys a little bit more defensive conscious, making sure you're not scored against, and you know that line should be able to create some offensive chances, right? But I'd like to see them focus more so responsibility defensively, possibly going up against the top lines of the other team, that typical kind of third line shutdown role, and with that ability to create turnovers with their speed, you got two guys that have used their physicality so far with Brown and Holloway on the forward check. A great McLeod does have good ability to transport the puck through the neutral zone. Sometimes you go, oh God, is Connor playing with these guys? And it's McLeod, right? There's some flashes there with him. Yeah, I like the role that Brown's in there with Holloway, because not only it's not, you're not counted on to score, but there is opportunity to be a very successful line going forward without the added pressure of being that typical scoring line and have to support the team in that role.
780-218-9999, 780-218-9999, or in the Nasty Chat if you're watching. It's two guys and a goalie on Edmonton Sports Talk. If you're looking to bet on anything in the National Hockey League tonight, you can do that over at Cool Bet. There's, 16 games to choose from tonight. Huss and I put together like 5 different parlays on the lock shop today. We'll see how that ends up going. I've got to do a Cool Bet play of the day right after this. I'll be going somewhere in the National Hockey League tonight, maybe to this game. We do have a Edmonton Sports Talk parlay. It's the under 6.5 in this game tonight. A Kane point and Draisaitl over 2.5 shots. Gage, what type of game do you think this ends up being tonight? Is it going to be a low scoring affair? Like, do you see the Oilers I'm not sure they can. And they should be able to, but you see the Oilers kind of playing a tight, low-scoring game without McDavid. Maybe there's more of a focus and a commitment to being on the defensive side of the puck here.
I think they're going to have to, Dusty, especially going into Minnesota, where they haven't had a lot of success since I played, really. Looking at that Minnesota lineup, that's a good team. This is a perfect opportunity to just have a real snoozer of a road game, right? Hanging around until the end and maybe pulling it off in the end. I know it's not great on the eyes and for entertainment value, but I think a standard boring road game, slowing it down, clogging everything up, because look, they can't outscore their problems anymore without Connor. I think that, like I said, that crutch of having that, we're down a goal, let's get Connor out there as much as possible to hopefully get us back or in this game. This has to be a win by committee, and I really think it's a great opportunity for a turning point in the season of having more guys having a responsibility and hopefully being able to put their stamp on a good solid road game against a team that's really good.
Oilers power play, I believe Maddie pointed out, it was 4th in the league so far. Obviously, you're losing one of the most unique power play weapons in the history of the game tonight in Connor McDavid. They did run some power play stuff, by all accounts, in practice yesterday, and it was Evander Kane getting the bump up to the first unit power play. Gager, do you have to approach the power play in a different way? Or do you try to... I don't know if you sort of elevate Nuge into it. Connor's so damn unique. I mean, when he gets moving around the zone, everybody gets moving. He can be on the right side. He can be on the left side. He can be all over the place. None of these guys are capable, not even Leon Draisaitl is capable of approaching a power play the way that Connor McDavid approaches a power play. So if that's the case, do you just get it back up to Bouchard and let her rip, or do you just have to be aggressive in getting pucks on net here and maybe not be looking for the pretty ones tonight?
Yeah, when Connor's on the power play, and they've played together for so long, right? So it's funny to see him and Leon, they change sides a lot, just knowing how everything's going. So it makes it very difficult to defend against. But look, Dusty, look at the players so you're replacing Connor McDavid with Evander Kane. Evander Kane's not Connor McDavid, but still a guy that's capable of scoring, I would say, upwards towards 40 goals a year. He's a highly talented player who I think has a great shot. These guys still should be able to operate at that between 25 and 30% on the power play, even without Connor McDavid, with the skill they have. I mean, gosh, they got a and a Rocket Richard Trophy winner on the power play still, and one of the best passers on the planet. So a little bit different, yes, but should still be able to have success on the power play. Um, I again, I like it. It's not a weapon that that's relied upon too much. Like I think it, even in these first few games, the power play got out there and it was like, oh, okay, we're on the power play, we're going to score. And when it didn't happen, I thought it was more of it gave a bigger boost to the opposing team, saying, "Oh, we killed off the best power play ever. Let's go and you've already had Connor, Leon, all the top guys out there for 2 minutes. Really a good opportunity for the other teams to come back at you with a response after the PK. So yeah, maybe we'll see power play 2 a little bit more too. I don't know.
Does well, no, I highly doubt it. Especially since one of the best pieces of power play 2 is up on power play 1. There's not much left on power play 2. Is Nuge that transporter coming in? Like, is Bouchard dropping it to Nuge? Is that? I feel like he's probably the smartest with the puck at high speeds, getting in over that blue line. That makes the most sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I would have, just for the puck transporting through the neutral zone, I would. I think he gets that assignment. It'll be interesting to see if teams still do that, like stack the forwards and put them in between where Connor and Bouchard would be, if they just back off knowing that Connor's not going to be transporting the puck. Yeah, I would give it to Nuge. I'd also like to see them throw in a little bit of a curveball once in a while and have maybe it is Bouchard coming in and gaining the line, right? So just to show a little bit of deception, bringing it in on the power play. But yeah, I'd have Nuge for sure. He's I mean, he did it for years before as well, so I have no problem with that, Dustin.
Get to a few more of your text messages, so keep those hammered in here. 780-218-9999, 780-218-99. We will 99. We will get to a few more of those before we wrap up this. No text from Cass yet. He must be not listening. It's extremely frustrating. But you know, whatever. What are we going to do? He's one of us. Jack Campbell, buddy. What do you expect from Jack Campbell today? We haven't even got to the goalies yet, and you're the goalie. What do you expect from Jack Campbell tonight?
Just another solid performance. I mean, I really good game in the win, you know, really busy. I like where his game's at, Dusty. It seems way more in control than where it was last year. You rarely see him reaching for pucks. Get in there and have a successful road game. I mentioned before, I think Jack Campbell's going to have a good year. This is still try to be there currently with the Oilers play and having those big defensive blunders and giving a good opportunity to the other team. You'd like to see him in those situations, possibly taking a goal away from the other team. That's the only thing I think that's we saw it in Nashville where there were some really big saves that he made. So, but
they scored so much in that game. It didn't really, I mean, we still gave him a lot of love, but it's not like he kind of goalied Nashville, but they didn't need him to goalie Nashville. You know what I mean? Like,
no. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But yeah, we would have been raving about his performance way more if that's 3-2.
Yeah. Or
right?
2-1 or something. Then you're like, man, they only won this game because of him. Like,
but you can also, I look at that game as he completely shut down any momentum that the Preds would have gotten from getting a goal, right? If they would have got one there, it could have put the Oilers on their heels and the opportunity to do a little bit more damage. So he was the cold water in that game for the Nashville Predators, just dousing any opportunities they had to get back in that game. So, and that's what he's got to do tonight. It's look, tonight's going to be it's a character building night for the Oilers tonight going up against this team. They have some
good way to
really,
describe it,
really
Gage.
good players.
Yeah, it's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, this will show us the intestinal fortitude of the Oilers in this early season and what they're really made of, because you can either, we don't have Connor, we gotta change everything, or are they gonna go, you know what, I'm gonna take the bull by the horns here. Let's get everything going. That has to be the message throughout all. I don't know how many guys are they dressing? 18 guys, 19 guys,
They
whatever.
they just dress as many as they possibly can, and it's just enough. It's just enough as they roll 11-7 again. Let's get to a couple of text messages at 780-218-9999. Hey boys, in hindsight, do you think Connor Brown should have started the year in Bakersfield? That comes in from Odorous Broccoli. Really funny. Whoever texted that in. Odorous Broccoli, going back to the client mixer last week.
Which
is really hilarious. Really hilarious. And by the way, first text ever from this person in, and they come in with an Odorous Broccoli drop as a handle. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. Now, with Brown coming back, could they have had, because he hasn't played in so long, could there be an exception that he could have started in Bakersfield? Because I don't think you could have just thrown him down there without him having to go through waivers of some sort, right? I think.
Yeah,
I might be wrong.
I don't think that would have been.
Let's say you could have. Would you have done that?
No.
You know what they did do? They started him on the top line. So, I mean,
yeah.
They could have just started him on the third line if they wanted, because then they're not in a spot right now where they go, well, they thought Connor Brown was a first liner because he's buddies with McDavid, and now he's a third liner. You could have just started him where he is right now and let him get ramped back up with 10 minutes a night, right?
Well, and that, again, that goes back to what we were talking at the beginning, Dusty. Like, why wouldn't you let him kind of try to figure things out with Connor on that top line? That's where he was on the whiteboard all summer. And the 25 minutes in, you're like, nope, it's not going to work. And that's tough for a guy coming back. Like, I'm sure Connor Brown, I mean, he's a veteran and has played years in the league, but in his mind, this is my opportunity. I'm going to be playing again with a guy I know quite well from junior, and to put that type of pressure on a guy that it's not even going to last a half a game. Guys are going to be trying to do too much in those situations to make sure they get next shift. They're still on that same line. I just think it's a little bit too early for all this. The Ninja Blender, too early. Maybe that's the name of the episode. Too early for the Ninja.
Yeah, the Ninja Blender. If you have any names for this suggested title of the episode, let us know. The Ninja Blender or something along those lines. Woody the Ninja. I mean, that's not bad. I like Woody the Ninja. Do you remember the movie Three Ninjas?
Yes.
Do you remember that? That was like when I was a kid. You're a little bit older, so you might not have remembered it. Like, I think the Three Ninjas came out when I was I must have been like 8 or 9. I must have been almost the same age as those kids, I think. They had, what were their names? I can't remember. They had the really bright ninja outfits and stuff.
Bright,
that was
red, blue.
Yeah, that was a good show. I like that one. You said, if this is a character builder here, like, what if they lose like 4-1 tonight or 5-1 tonight? And I don't think that'll happen, but I also didn't think they'd start the year 1-3-1, and I didn't think they'd get pumped by the Canucks, and I didn't think they'd lose 2 in a row to Vancouver to start the year, and I didn't think they'd lose to the Philadelphia Flyers, and when they got up 2-0 against the Winnipeg Jets, I didn't think they'd blow that one at home either. So basically anything I've thought about this team this year has been completely wrong. So when I ask and I say, I don't think this will happen, but what if they lose 4-1 or 5-1 to Minnesota and don't have a bunch of pushback? There's kind of a likeliness that could possibly happen tonight, Gager. And when you say that this is a character builder spot here, if they get rolled tonight, how concerning does this become?
Very concerning if they get rolled, because I'm sure you've watched, I think it's called a movie called Slapshot, Dusty. And I'm referring to the scene where they're all in the room and talking about, Ogotorp.
Yeah.
Ogotorp. And then the trainer comes in and goes, he's not playing. He's suspended. So if you go into the Wild dressing room tonight, all those D-men are so happy that Connor McDavid, they don't have to go up against Connor, right? But the message in their room is like, guys, we still can't take these guys lightly. But knowing that you don't have to worry about 97 now, there is an opportunity for the Oilers to establish a very physical, hard-nosed type of game, because real it's not that you don't think it's going to be an easy night for the Wild, but you know that you don't have to worry about one of the most dangerous offensive players at all anymore. So you might be able to catch them sleeping with not being completely prepared, knowing just a little bit of relaxation. So I look for the Oilers to take advantage, make sure you have that good start, possibly weather that storm within, make sure you're tied or even, or tied or have the lead after those first 10 minutes, and go from there. Because not having Connor McDavid in the lineup, every team's going to look at you a little bit different, and quite possibly play you a little bit different, because you don't have that offensive threat.
780-218-9999. Big Uke is thinking he might bet on Janmark to score tonight at plus 560, because Big Uke is one sick puppy. He is one sick puppy. But you never know. You might be able to cash that along the way. You know what? We had one message from Michael in the nasty chat earlier. Says CC is struggling again so much this year as well. Still does not look the same. Gager, we've gone through an entire almost hour episode of Two Guys and a Goalie. We have not mentioned the blue line at all. Just your general thoughts on where that is at right now, the blue line in general.
Oh, it's got to be way better than it has, Dusty. Too many subtle mistakes, not enough communication. Not a blue line that I would think that I would be talking about, that's not even close to being a team that's going to compete for the ultimate goal in winning a Stanley Cup. They have to figure some things out. I know with Ekholm, still doesn't even close to what he was last year. I'm sure it'll get there. CC's been okay. Darnell Nurse peaks and valleys a little bit.
Yeah.
Bouchard, not even close to where he was on that stretch run from the year prior. So it's there. I just don't understand why it's not there now, after all this emphasis on being ready and the combinations. It needs to be way better than what it was. They have to eliminate those crucial errors where it's ending up in the back of their net. They have to snuff these things out. Let the Minnesota Wild they can't just feast on the mistakes of the Oilers tonight. Oilers have to play a sound structural defensive game, that the only way that the Wild can score is they generate their own opportunities through execution and hard work, and just not giving them any freebies at this point, because they can't afford it without Connor McDavid.
We've got the Heritage Classic looming on Sunday. Of course, Connor McDavid's status for that still up in the air. The status of who's going to start between the pipes, we won't know until that day. But did you see Stuart Skinner's retro gear? I wanted to bring that up with you because I know you're a huge Grant Fuhr guy. Those pads look unreal. Like, I don't know why you just don't roll those all the time. They just look so damn good.
I'm going to be down at the rink this week. I'm going to see if I can steal them. But they're amazing. Great job by Skinner. I mean, local boy, why wouldn't he go to the old DNR looking pads? They had the side-by-side on that, Dusty, and it's just perfect. Like the mask, the gloves, really cool. Hopefully, like, those are one of those things where, it'd be cool to keep those as a keepsake, put them in the self locker in the man cave downstairs, and have your Grant Fuhr set up. That's unbelievable. Hopefully, who knows? I don't know if I guess if Campbell plays well, Put him in the next. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who starts that Heritage Classic.
Yeah, I mean, if we're basing it off equipment, I mean, unless Jack Campbell's rolling out some classic Andy Moog Brown stuff from the early '80s. I mean, I don't know which other area you can go. I was just trying to Google. This is a major concern to me. I was Googling like best goalie pads in NHL history just to kind of see what popped up. And if you do goalie masks, obviously there's like a million lists. I'm having a hard time diving into a good list of, I see like some year by year ones, and then obviously goalie equipment. But was there any other pads that really stood out to you back in the day, Gager, that you were a huge fan of?
Well, the first guy to start doing the when you put them together, they did the Mad Magazine. Like Felix had some cat ones that looked really cool.
I'm looking at those right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Trevor Kidd's pads. I never understood the Flames? The checker. Well, the Flames ones were cool, but the checkered ones, I didn't know that was a hurricane flag in Carolina.
Oh yeah, those checkered ones. I'm looking at those right now too.
It went into a flag. I mean, nowadays
he had checkered flags though. He had checkered pads in Toronto and Florida too.
Yeah, he stuck with it. So the ones that really caught my eye were, and I hate to say it because he's too good looking, but Henrik Lundqvist, when they went Yankee pinstripe and his pads were the pinstripes as well in an outdoor game, that looked really, really sharp. But I do like the look of the old leather when Fleury had them in Minnesota. But really the nicest unis and the nicest pads are the Minnesota Wild's third jersey with the retro going back to the old Minnesota North Stars with the green and yellow. I think Gustafsson last year wore that kit, and it looked dynamite.
Who was the goaltender? I think it was Rob Stauber. Who was the guy that had the two Kings pads that you like? There were Kings cards.
Oh,
and I thought it was Rob Stauber, but they're not coming up. I'm looking for.
Was it the Bandit?
I think
Daniel Berthiaume. I'm trying to think.
Where is it here? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm going crazy, but I know I've got a hockey card of it, and I'm pretty sure it was Rob Stauber who had a couple of pads that you put them together, and they were like kings of clubs or kings of spades. Like, I cannot find them though for the life of me.
That's a no-brainer in Vegas. I can't believe they haven't had like pocket aces as pads, right?
Yeah.
Just have aces on your pads would be dynamite.
Yeah, here we go. Let's see. Yeah, I'm seeing they were Foresters. They were gray. I'm looking like an old one. I don't know. Maybe these are even for sale on like eBay or something right now. But he's got like basically like a royal. Oh, he's got all four kings. He's got the king of clubs on one pad, and then the kings of heart, and like kind of like spread out like cards on the pads. Those are the ones that I was thinking of. Nice. They were absolutely outstanding. That was kind of nice. Goalie pads are so crazy now. Like so Marshall played net on Sunday, is his first of maybe like two games. He actually did pretty well. I was like, hey, like, but now it's cheating because he goes down on his knees and his shoulders are at the crossbar because they're playing with the U9 nets, right? Like the kid takes up the whole bloody net. So in the first game, I don't know what the final score was, but he only allowed 3 goals in the first game and then 2 goals in the second game. And in U9, that's pretty good numbers. Like he was one of the parents was like, you got a birth certificate on that kid? I was like, yeah, he's right. Here's your birth certificate. He's my son. Look at me. I'm a giant. But like, there's nothing to it for goalie pads nowadays. Like, as far as like, I remember as a kid, putting on the straps and everything, like it's 2 little Velcro pieces and it's like, okay, there you go. Like it's all set up. It's fascinating. I'm fascinated by goalie equipment with how far it's come, man. It's insane.
It's great. It's great. I still love going in and when I go into a sports store, I just go straight to the goalie.
Of course you do. So do I still.
Yeah. And just try on the glove, put the pad on the leg. Yeah, and just the little Velcro. I wish I would have known this back in the day because, man, it took you forever to do up all those belt buckles and stuff, and they would get wet and rot and break and stuff. Now it's just I can't tell you how many times pucks would I'd get hit or something. I would break a buckle and you'd have all these little pieces on the ice and you'd be slipping. Like, it's way more efficient these days with goalie gear. And man,
the stuff that he had, I don't even know how it stayed on. Like, it was just a little bit of Velcro. I was like, how's this staying on? It doesn't make any sense to me how it stays on.
Still with I bought a new pair of pads years ago, but I thought they were street hockey pads at first.
They're so light. And
how am I? Yeah. And I went to play, I was playing in the Alberta men's, it might have been even the finals or whatever. And I wasn't sure. Like, I go, if a puck hits me, this could break my leg, because I'm not sure if these like, I was hitting them with my hand on the other side thinking, okay, well, I don't punch that hard, but I still can't really feel it. But so, yeah, I got out, puck hit me. I go, okay,
we're good then. Yeah.
I can wear these. We're good.
Man. Because I played net for 6 or 7 years and had the brown pads provided by Kimberly Minor Hockey for a couple years. And then I got a blue pair of Vons and a blue pair, like a blocker and catcher, which was awesome. And then when I got a little bit bigger, I guess when I was 13, 14, I got the Patrick Waugh Coho blocker catcher set, which was awesome. And then my dad, we went to the goalie shop in Calgary. Do you remember the goalie? Like, it was just all goalies. It was just a hockey equipment store, but just goalies. And as a 12 or 13-year-old guy who was obsessed with Patrick Waugh and goalies in general, the goalie shop or the goalie store, whatever it's called in Calgary, was like the greatest place on earth. And we go in there, and my pads had always been so heavy. And they're like, no, this is the new lighter pad. But it was freaking huge. Like, it came up to my balls, basically. Like, and my dad's like, you're going to grow into these. And he's right. Like, eventually, if I would have stayed as a goalie, I would have grown into them by the time I was like 19 years old. But at 13, I couldn't move. Like, I couldn't move. These pads came up to my bloody waist, and I could not move. And it just drove me nuts.
Stuff you have now, like, they're plug and play. You can wear them right out of the box.
You're not breaking them in or anything, right? Like, it's just
no.
Yeah,
they're already kind of broke in. They just kind of fall apart from there. But sometimes I'll go into like the hockey stores right before the season starts, go into the goalie section, and you see kids so excited trying on all this new stuff, and then you see the parents just like head in their hands going, oh my God, how am I going to pay for this stuff? And they're just miserable.
And I understand where that comes from, but like, I would love to buy goalie stuff for my kid. Like, if Marshall ever goes, yeah, you know what? I think I might want to try goalie for a year. I'm gonna be like, let's go. Like, let's go get geared up. And you know what? We're going to get matching father and son gear. And I'm going to be out there practicing with you. Like, I did love it until I started playing high school basketball, and then they're like, well, you can't be on the basketball team and have to be the goalie. Yeah. So I chose one or the other. But yeah, I would love for him to be a goalie, but it's very rare for a parent to be like, I want my kid to be a goalie, but he's going to be 6'6" and a monster. Like,
well, he's going to get looked at then, because if you're not over 6'3", most scouts don't even look at you.
He's almost the same size as UC Saros and Dustin Wolf, so it doesn't matter. Yeah. You know what's funny is that the little bugger, he goes, so he had practice on Saturday, and he went to practice as goalie, and I was talking to him on FaceTime, I think Friday night, because I was in Winnipeg, and I said, you ready for practice tomorrow? And he goes, yep. He goes, and I don't have to skate my hardest because I'm in the goalie gear. I was just like, son, that's the exact reason I became a goalie too. I loved it when he was just like, I don't have to try as hard because I'm in the goalie gear. I was like, okay, sure thing. Here we go again. Like, it's just me all over again. So we'll see how it plays out. Anyway, prediction for tonight, Gager, before we let you go.
Oh boy, this is a tough one. My heart tells me 3-2 Minnesota.
Oh boy.
But what I'd like to see is 4-2 Edmonton wins with the empty netter. And I know I said that before, but I think I'll tell you after 10 minutes of the first.
You'll know, you have a feel for it. Like, I look at it and go, pretty much everything I've thought about the Oilers this year has been wrong. And I'm very worried about this game. So maybe they win. Maybe everybody's going in like doom and gloomy. And maybe they come out, get a win, and then tomorrow morning on the Nielsen show, everybody's like, my God, you throw McDavid back in the mix with this club, and they're a Stanley Cup contender again. You know, it's maybe it's one of those nights.
That's why I say it. Yeah, that's why I say like it on both sides. You look at the Connor's out. Minnesota's got a different mindset.
Yeah.
Edmonton, that's why I say this is a character building type of win. It's like, no, we won't beat. I know we're missing Connor, but I want to show everyone that we're a capable team. Like that, the huge opportunity for the rest of the guys in the lineup here. That's why it's disconcerting if they do lay an egg here because they don't have their main guy. What does that say about the character of the individuals that you have? That's not a strong group.
All right, let's wrap up with two messages here on Two Guys and a Goalie today. This one comes into the text box, 780-218-9999. It just says, thank you, Mr. Lean, which I think means Maddie's soccer pick from the Nielsen show today just cashed a ticket.
Oh, did it?
Cool bet. And then, yeah, it did. Thumbs up. He's got a thumbs up. And then D. Flange on the Nasty Chat says, I wanted to be a goalie as a kid. Dad told me he wasn't driving all over the province to watch me sit on the bench. So I guess that's what happened when you run in the two goalie system in minor hockey. Not enough room for everybody.
You just slash the tires of the parents of the other kids' goalies.
All right, thanks for joining us, the Two Guys and a Goalie today. The title of the show today will be Woody Ninja. And or a Ninja Woody, That's what we'll go with.
Ninja Woody.
Yeah. Eric's putting that bad boy up right now. So, all right, that's going to do it for all of our coverage today. Nielsen Show replay coming up, and then later tonight, 5:30 start. Pregame show. We're going to be at the Capilano Boston Pizza. Tommy Gazzola going to be ready to go. We're going to have most of our crew down there. It's going to be a pretty good time. And, yeah, please join us. We'll have the speaker set up so you can listen to the pregame right there in the Boston Pizza Lounge. Stick around, listen to the postgame as well. And, of course, watch the game with us tonight. Capilano, Boston Pizza, swing on by. We will be there setting up around 4:45, and we'll be ready to roll at 5:30 this evening. Gager, we will talk to you on Thursday, I guess.
Sounds
all right,
good,
see you
buddy.
later, Ben.
Later.